Hello, we are here at Booker Vineyard in Paso Robles, California, with the very famous Stephan Asseo of LAVENTURE Winery. Hello, Stephan. How you doing today?
Very good. A little bit stressed, but I'm good. Thank you. Happy to be with you. Oh, yeah.
You're stressed. I
Yeah,
just
we
got
had
out
a
of the
crazy
ditch.
day. Yeah, no, you look good. You too. Yeah, me too.
You've been on a telephone with a fax. You've been on a telephone all day. I've been in a hole digging a pipe. Anyways, we're
No
very
comments.
excited to bring this little tag game to Paso Robles, where serious farmers and winemakers are doing world-class things as opposed to some of our friends in Disneyland in the North Coast. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Napa now, are we? We're here to talk about Paso Robles. Stephan, first of all, I want to know when your first vintage. I know you're on the tail end of your life, actually, but you're getting a little older. We're not going to lie about that. When was your first vintage that you worked in France, in Bordeaux? Was it in Bordeaux?
Yeah, it was in Bordeaux, and so it was 1982. So I never made the calculation, but I think that make 37 vintages now, like owner, bottle washer, vigneron, like I like to say, vigneron. Vigneron, it's it's not just the winemaker, it's a grower and the winemaker. So I like to use this name because it's more or less what I love to do, not just the make the wine, but grow the vine and try to have the best fruit as possible, and from that try to make good wine.
I got some questions on the phone, which is why I am
Okay.
looking at the phone. I'm
I thought it was checking his email.
No,
but
I
it's
have early.
okay.
I'm very bored right now. I have early onset, I think. Stephan,
I can go if you want.
Stephan, wow.
Yeah, I'm
I
dusty
mean,
too.
yeah, he's filthy. You can't really see it up close. But where was the first harvest, and then from there, what happened and why wine? Because I know you were a party boy when you were young, and you had maybe a little money, and you were touring around and doing what a kind of a
But you speak
playboy.
about Paso or
No, in
you want
France. In
the
France.
beginning of the? Why, it's a long story. That
Make
okay.
it fast. How about that?
Okay, so very fast. So first, the big challenge for me was when I decided to become a farmer, because at this time I didn't know that somewhere it will be taking care of vineyard and making wine. I was a city boy, so it was not so easy being a city boy, especially it was in the end of the 70s, to have access to some viticulture oenological school. So
You had
already,
access to Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin.
yeah,
And
yeah, and
some
yeah,
random,
but even I was a party boy,
some recreational things as well.
and I was more crazy than I am today. Already, the idea to maybe at this time it was just to be in the field with a big tractor. I don't know, because I was still far away to think to make to take care of the vineyard and making wine. But my first challenge has to be in first to after my graduation to find a place where I will learn somewhere how to do that. And every school I've been, especially it was at the end of the 70s, you had a lot of city guys who were leaving back to the country, and so they were completely tired about this kind of guy. So I had to show my motivation, prove my motivation. And so the only way somewhere to have access to the school, after they said no to me, was to start like a slave intern. And so I did some internship in the Loire. I did some in Burgundy, and after finally I had access to a school in Burgundy, in Mâcon. And I spent 2 years in this school, good school, I think. From that, I disappeared in French Polynesia because I was still very young. I didn't want to be in jail making my job, life job, at 20 years old or 22 years old. So I spent more or less 3 years, 3 years in French Polynesia, in the island. And it's a long story, so I make short. Came back to France. When I was in school, I was very close to a Bordeaux guy from Pomerol. I went to visit him. I met a girl. And so finally, I stayed in France. I never went back to French Polynesia. And finally, after thinking eventually to buy something in Burgundy, I ended up to Bordeaux. So that was, I will say, beginning of the 80s. I purchased this place in 1982, so that was my first vintage. So
where was this purchase at?
So it was in what we call in Bordeaux Entre-deux-Mers. So this huge part you have between the two big rivers, the Garonne and the Dordogne. So it's less famous than Saint-Emilion or some famous left bank appellation. But the terroir was on a high plateau. It was full of limestone. It was the equivalent of the plateau of Saint-Emilion. So it was beautiful. But it was, if I was able to buy it with a lot of big loans, you know, I was a young how you say, young farmer with a lot of debts. And so...
and the French are socialists, so I mean, they're giving money away anyways, right?
Yeah, not really.
The doctor, the plumber,
No, at this time, yeah, maybe. No, at this time it was, Mitterrand was still not elected, so it was long time ago, you know. So, however, I stayed 17 years, but this place was completely destroyed, you know. That's the reason it was affordable and I was able to buy it. It's because half of the roof were collapsed. The vineyard, to give you an idea, on 40 acres, the first years I did the equivalent of 10 tons. So that gives you an idea of the shape of the vineyard.
So you buy this place, you meet the beautiful Beatrice, and you have babies on the back working in the vineyard, young couple, correct? And you get it rolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, slowly
things happen.
A lot of friends helped me.
Where's a transition that you decide, I'm done here, I'm packing up and going to the promised land? What?
I will say it's, you know, well, it was 15 years after, so slowly, step by step, because it was a big adventure. You know, my first adventure was really in this place. This adventure is the number 2. But I will say it was after 12 years, and I will say even more than that. It was after some trips where I went to visit some friends in Lebanon, in Spain, even in south of France, you know, in different appellations than Bordeaux. Every time I was tasting some wine, and I was thinking, wow, that's very good. But because of the regulation of the appellation, I could not do it. And so slowly, you know, the idea started to mature in my mind. Beatrice was even more ready for me, you know, to make a move.
So all that said, how do you end up in the last place in the late 90s? How does all this come to Paso Robles, which at the time was basically, no disrespect to anybody, but big name wise was maybe Gary Eberle doing some good stuff and Justin Baldwin starting to maybe do some good stuff, but really Justin not even doing much.
Yeah.
How do you find this place?
But because when I decided somewhere, you know, because first, before to even think about California, we talked about Australia. So everything I'm speaking about was 17 years ago.
Those wines are manipulated.
South Africa was
manipulated and very
also.
average, those Australian wines are.
Yeah, you had that, but you have
tannins,
no,
acid.
but that's big, guys. Yeah, however, I share that with you a little bit, but I'm sure you have some people who deal differently. However, I talked about South Africa, but you had still the apartheid. And Beatrice, my wife, told me, okay, I'm go with you. The kids were okay too. Even somewhere the oldest was 16. And Chloe, the youngest, was 6 or 7. However, everybody was ready to go. So somewhere we had the world for us, you know. But we had to deal not just with the wine story, we had to deal with the family story, school, etc., etc. And so somewhere after thinking, so Australia,
so you never answered my question, which was, how did you get here?
Yeah, because somewhere after we decided finally that will be California, we end up to Napa, because somewhere like a stupid French guy, the only stuff I knew was Napa from Bordeaux.
Disneyland,
you know?
I hear you.
No.
Did he? I did not mean that disrespectfully. No, Juan, you guys, I'm sorry.
So, however, I've been to Napa. I open a parenthesis, you know, I thought I was kind of rich because I sold my place in Bordeaux. Not too bad, but I was very poor. And so I understood very fast that somewhere Napa will be not for me. I went to Sonoma. I've seen a lot of beautiful places somewhere in Sonoma, but it was already a little bit too late. And to answer already to your question, I would say at the end I heard about Paso, and my philosophy always has been to put everything on the terroir. So I prefer to have, I will say, a great terroir in a shitty appellation than a shitty terroir in a great appellation.
Well,
So
not to
all
mention,
my philosophy was based on that.
and you'd rather have great terroir to make up for your faults as a winemaker.
Yeah. No.
Well, you just said yeah, not me.
No,
But anyways,
I didn't understand
can
this
we rewind the
question.
tape
So can you
he
repeat
see,
the question, please?
Can we rewind the tape so he can see what he just said? So keep going. Very smartly. Yeah, absolutely. Great terroir. Forget about the appellation. All that's...
No, but I answered your question. Paso was not, like you said, was not like it is today. It was not on the map. The few people, I will say, even 2 years after I arrived, who knew about Paso, they knew more about like a growing area selling fruit, not really a wine area. And most of the time, unfortunately, when they tasted the wine, without few exceptions, it was not really a good impression. So when I see today from, I will say, the beginning of 2000, the evolution of Paso, how this appellation finally end up to be on the map with all the new blood, all the newcomer, now the new generation, etc. I've seen all this evolution, you know, just to give you an idea. If my memory is good, when somewhere we ended up with our luggage, because we arrived really with luggage, you know, and we started to fill our mobilhome on the property, you had 35 wineries. Today, I'm pretty sure you have more than 300 wineries.
By the way, it's funny that you talk about the mobile home. So when I first met Stephan, they lived in, there's a double wide and there's a single wide. Stephan's was a single wide. This thing was, no disrespect to the great state of Mississippi and South Carolina.
Cheap a little bit.
But this thing was a single wide. I mean, like I could have loaded it on my pickup truck.
Very long.
Kind of like you know, long and thin. Anyways, his daughter became our babysitter at like 10 years old, but it's because Chloe was like 6 foot tall at 10 and looked like she was 15. And I remember that when we would want to stay up late, like the French do, and dance on tables and turn the music up, unfortunately the kids were about 2 steps around the bend in a cardboard a room that I think was like fake walls. You know, if you pushed hard, they would have fallen over. And now it's awesome to see that you live in a mansion and you've had all this great success.
But I stayed very simple.
No longer is he a farmer. He really just is rich now, and he points fingers, and guys like me do the work. But that's okay. He's earned it. So now we're in Paso, Stephan, and you've seen a lot. So a quick question for you: a lot of people don't know about Paso, and so Paso, real quick to preface this question, is Paso's been made very famous on the west side by some very heavy limestone, calcareous, and silicious shale soils, and now no longer making wine for production purposes, but making wine to compete with the rest of the world. And of course, now the top wines have surpassed the rest of the world and are at the top. Just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. But anyways, why this vortex right here, where me and you are, which is completely different than Vineyard Drive up the street where dinner is. No, not good, bad, or indifferent. What is so special about this vortex where Torin, with Scott Hawley, me, you, Carl Bowker, Connor next door, do you think this little area so special?
I would say it's special, like I will say some neighbor place are special too, but I will say they're at least very authentic. I think I will go back to speak about terroir, you know, and not the marketing side of the terroir, the real side of the terroir. And so the terroir, for me, it's few parameters together. So it's not just the soil, it's the combination of the soil, the topography, the elevation. And so when you look at our places, it's just hills everywhere.
Yep.
So that means it's not just a big square flat. We have, on my property, I have 4 or 5 hills. So that means each hill means different exposure with a plateau on the top. And so already the soil is completely different from the top, from the bottom. After, which is completely crazy in my place, I don't know yours, but I was lucky enough, some kids for their PhD, their thesis made a beautiful stuff. And so I have a fantastic study about LAVENTURE. And we ended up to see that more or less half of my property is from really limestone, calcareous, and the other one is half from siliceous origin. So they look the same. But
so hold that thought for a second, because what a lot of people don't know. You gonna bring us some wine? Let's try some LAVENTURE. Which one is this? LAVENTURE here.
Thank you.
Okay. LAVENTURE for you, right there. Take that glass.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll take this. And what's this? Well, why would we have Booker out here just in case? Becky, can you grab this, please?
Just in case LAVENTURE will be not good enough for you.
Okay, so we got both. So where Stephan was going with that is very important to Paso Robles, and that we believe it's one of the few places that, because of what he said, exposures north, south, east, west, microclimate within a individual block. We all have microclimates. Santa Barbara has them, Napa has them, top of the hill, bottom of the hill, middle of the hill. The real rarity that we have right here, and I'm not sure if they have it over on Vineyard, they may, but right here, you could literally take a north face, this face out behind us, I'm not sure if they can see that, but the face behind us will make a wine that'll come in at 13.5 alcohol, pure Grenache, and then a little of that may be shade cloth manipulated, but you really could come in at about 14, and not a ton of color, not this black, no serrated. Then you go to the opposite side of that hill, and you get a deep, rich Syrah that tastes like it's from a hot climate. So on one side of our hills, I mean, do you agree with this?
Completely.
And that's kind of where you
and
were going.
And I played a lot with that, because maybe if I kept something from Bordeaux, it's my blend attitude, kind of. Because I think, even I respect people who are really vineyard designated or stuff like that. Me, I'm really at the opposite of that. And so I always believe when you blend few good stuff together, it's always more complex than just good individual stuff. And so what you said for me is very, very important, because at the beginning it was not easy, but I tried to take advantage of this diversity. So that means, for example, I planted some Syrah because we're in Paso Robles. Maybe I will have not done that in France, but in Paso we have a fantastic after season. So we have always a maturation, however. Even I love, even more than everything, the late harvest, kind of, when we are not harvesting at the beginning of September. But that being said, I planted some Syrah or even some Cabernet Sauvignon on some northeast face where I will have the maturation, but it will be a different maturation. It will be less on the power, it will be more on the finesse, the elegance, with different tannin. And so
I don't think they understand how different we're talking about. I mean, you can make literally a wine that you think you're in Santa Barbara with one part of your vineyard and another one where you think you're in Napa. The valley floor anyways in Napa is probably 5 degrees, a little bit hotter than here. We're in this side of the west side, we're probably a 91, 92 normal day, whereas they might be up over 198, 97. A lot of people think that Paso's such a hot climate, but here on the west side, we have less hot days than most parts of Napa do. But so yeah, I mean, a north face, completely different wine.
Yeah.
Let's try the wine. What wine is
for
this?
me, but before we try, I think, because I told you that I am a blend guy, so that's really my philosophy. And so what I wanted to explain somewhere, it's the blend for me start already in the vineyard, because I planted the same kind of grape in different blocks with completely different exposure, so that different clone, different rootstock. So each block is like very different, and somewhere, even after I use a blend of Syrah, this straight Syrah, it's a blend of a lot of different Syrah, which I think make a Syrah more interesting than if I had just one unique big block of Syrah. So that go back to what you said. And we can do that because we have this kind of topography. On the top of that, I don't want to go too much in the details, but we have so hot days, so very cool night. So that means sometimes we harvest after Napa, even we harvest sometime for the same kind of grapes 3 weeks after Châteauneuf-du-Pape in France, which is hard to believe. But all those specificity, I think, make Paso unique. So not better, but very
just different,
very different,
and a little bit. And let's be honest with each other, a little bit better.
To keep that like it is.
A little bit better. Let's be honest with each other. What wine are we trying here? What wine is this?
Estate Cuvée. So that is my flagship wine, kind of. Okay. I broke the best for you. Huh?
So I try the Estate Cuvée.
So so it's a crazy blend somewhere. And again, if I go back to the beginning of the story. You know, when I started, it was 17, 18 years ago, and when I made this blend 17 years ago, so it's a Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, and a lot of Petit Verdot, at least between 15 and 20+%. So like it's not like in Napa or in Bordeaux, you know, we can have a touch of Petit Verdot.
Quit saying Napa so much. I'm
Okay.
tired of Napa.
So like in Bordeaux or like in some other place where they make Bordeaux blend, I will say when they introduce Petit Verdot, most of the time it's really a touch. Here it's a big part of the blend. And so when I did that 17 years ago, everybody took me for a crazy French guy, but more and more I think that it's working not too bad.
Does it? So I have a blend also. Yours is
I'm
there.
lost.
Don't
Okay.
touch mine,
Okay.
please. I have a blend that I named after you because when I used to call Stephan and say, "Hey, Stephan, it's Eric," because Stephan was my first. He was my teacher. Him and Justin Smith were my teachers in wine. Stephan was my teacher in everything because he was my neighbor, but he never knew who I was. And I would say, "It's Eric. I'm your fucking neighbor. I mean, come on."
I speak fast, he speaks fast, and I'm slow.
And so finally, he'd start calling me saying, "Eric, this is Stephan, your favorite neighbor." So I said, when I make a wine, I'm going to make a wine called My Favorite Neighbor, and it's going to be estate cuvee modeled after him. And so,
yeah, that's a nice story.
This is a beautiful
I like
wine.
this story because it's the truth.
But now I'm drinking this Booker, and I mean, try the Booker. Does it upset you at all?
No, so it's
the
a
student-
favorite neighbor?
No, this is Oubliette. This is a Counoise.
Oubliette
Grenache base.
Counoise,
But
yeah.
does it upset you all, because you've taught a lot of guys to make wine, when you taste a wine like Booker, when it's better than your wine, does that get under your skin at all and upset you? Sometimes the student
Most of the time, no. Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes the student surpasses the teacher.
Yeah, but that's life, and you need to accept. But it's good for you. Yeah, kiss me. Yeah, no, I think it's good because somewhere we don't care.
You know, Stephan. You do understand. I'm kidding right now.
No, I
right?
know sometimes, but because I know him more than he thinks.
No.
somewhere.
I am completely messing with you to have fun with you, but
no, but I think it's good. I think, and that I learned that honestly more in America because it's more the American mentality than the French mentality. But especially when we start from scratch, like we do in Paso, when you have a newcomer like you, new blood, we're coming with a huge motivation. Maybe not the knowledge,
but they get the free press.
A big opening.
Let me interrupt you real quick because we've only got a minute. The new guy gets the free press, and then I was the new guy and got the press, and then the next new guy comes in, you know, and he gets it, and then the next guy. So us old guys, you being the oldest. But what you've done for my career could never be thanked. It's unbelievable what you've done for my family and where you've put us in the wine world, and it's an eternal debt of gratitude that we love you and thank you for. And
you never told me that in 15 years, so thank you.
Oh, that's not true at all. But anyways, I'm telling it now in case I haven't.
So cut. I need to kiss him.
So the big question that you need to answer is now, who will you interview next? Because now you have to interview somebody.
I have no idea.
And you got to make it fun, and you got to jab at him a little bit and cause a little trouble.
I will try to be entertaining like you know, but I'm not so good. So I don't know. I will try. I will knock a few doors and. But you have a bunch of nice people around, part of the team, because everybody is, I will say, friendly in Paso, and please come to Paso because you will feel, I think, this kind of authenticity and good vibes. But we have a little circle somewhere between winemaker and not just winemakers, but we share the same passion, and so we exchange everything. So I'm pretty sure I will find someone.
Well, and with us, the big thing is
we need to find good questions.
Yeah, with us, it becomes just about being friends and not about competition and wine. And I think that's the difference here in Paso. So, if you have not traveled to Paso Robles or started purchasing the wines of Paso Robles, my advice to you would be do so. There's a lot of lists that you can still get on, and I would do so if you haven't yet done that. But anyways, thanks for listening. Stephan, my mentor, I appreciate it and love you, and thank you for taking the beating that I just gave you and being a good sport. So
thank you,
very
my
much.
friend. Thank you.
Everybody enjoy their weekend.
Bye-bye.
Happy Easter.
Come in Paso.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
In the box.
Can I shower now? I gotta go fix a pipe now.
Okay.
Well, no, I drink.
Yeah. Thank you so so
the
much.
OVA in the LAVENTURE glass, and then the LAVENTURE in the Booker glass. I totally mixed
That's
them
cool.
up.
It's okay.
But no, I was thinking you were going to taste
Oh.
the OVA
Camera
and say,
doesn't
yeah,
know.
my cuvee.
He was a great sport. He let me beat on him a little. Juan was
Oh,
going to
yeah.
beat me up, but then he
Hey,
chickened
you
out.
train me a lot. I have
Yeah.
a good training with you. Huh? I don't react anymore.
Yeah. He usually doesn't even listen anymore. It just whoosh.
So, however, okay, so maybe you will have to put some subtitle. I don't know.
You're good. Sounded great.
So, Stephan,
No, because they're
can
used.
totally
They're
get-
used to my.
I'm used
yeah,
to
but
him,
you're
so
trained. You're
yeah.
trained. And you're not a
Yeah.
good example.
so the way this works now.
Without offense,
No doubt.
I know.
No
you
doubt.
have a better than me.
No, I understood exactly what you said.
So now,
Yes, sir.
Didier and you will exchange information because now you interview someone.
No, I know. Fuck you. No, that's you didn't tell me that. It would be great if we had.
No, Justin.
You cannot break the
Pick
chain.
another French person, then you can do it all.
Okay, you.
Oh, Guillaume, yeah. There you go.
Eventually, I will try Justin because I think for you will be nice. But if not, yeah, Guillaume will be fun because I can do like he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can
See
roast
my
you.
see my deal was you. It was you. If you said you were out of town, then it was going to be Justin. So you should. I would.
No,
I
so
would
he was
think.
he was okay eventually.
No, I never even talked to him.
You never. Okay, I will try.
I went to you first. He will.
I think so.
I went to you first, and if you were going to say no, I was going to go to him. He'll do it. I would just say no.
So we need to find a date, but
Yeah.
right now it didn't come with my agenda.
I'm gonna call
And
you.
I'm like a prime minister.
I'm gonna call you. So you went to.
Just
you went-
did that not go
Prime-
over? I am like the
Prime
prime minister.
No, not my schedule, my timing.
But the good thing is you have about like 6 weeks.
Okay, cool.
You know, but I
So
will
6
remind
weeks that bring us.
It's gonna be in May.
Okay, cool.
You're